We have Dr. Sheetal Bra talking to us about Vivinex Toric, clinical outcomes and rotation stability.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, friends. So it's my pleasure to talk about my experience with the Vivinex Toric intraocular lens and also to share the results of a clinical study that we recently completed and published in Journal of Cataract and Refractive Surgery. The study was done in Netradhama Super Specialty Eye Hospital, and the study looked at the clinical outcomes and rotational stability following the implantation of the Vivinex Toric intraocular lens in high myopic eyes versus normal eyes. So as we all know that rotational stability of toric IOLs is a bit questionable in eyes that have preoperative large axial lens. And this is because these eyes have large and loose capsular bags, also weak and relaxed zonules, and the anterior chamber depth is too deep, and the vitreous is also liquefied. And all these factors eventually result in surgical difficulties for the surgeon, as well as increase the likelihood of postoperative rotation if a toric IOL is implanted. So we use this lens, the Vivinex Toric Multicert lens in the study. The model was XY1ASP, and this model has essentially the optic design, which is biconvex with square, thin, and textured optic edge. The anterior surface has an aspheric design, while the posterior surface has the toric design incorporated. Now the lens can correct cylinder of up to 6 diopters on the IOL plane, and this corresponds to 4.17 diopters at the corneal plane. Now, the most unique feature of this lens is basically its textured haptics, which is nothing but a slight surface modification which is done at the edge of the optic as well as on the surface of the haptics. Now, the haptics have been slightly roughened or frosted with the idea of improving the grip of the optic and the haptics with the capsular bag, thus improving its positional stability. Basically, this is a boon for toric lenses because postoperatively you can expect better stability and least chances of rotation. And this modification, the textured haptics, is available not only on the monofocal platform but also across all the other lenses which are made on the Vivinex platform, such as the Impress Enhanced Monofocal and the geometric trifocal families. So coming to our study, the purpose was to compare the clinical outcomes and rotational stability following implantation of the Vivinex Toric IOL in eyes with normal versus high axial lens. This was a 2-arm retrospective comparative study involving 114 eyes of 114 eligible patients. The procedure performed was FLACS in all the eyes using the LensAR femtosecond laser platform with Hoya Vivinex monofocal toric IOL implantation. All the patients were divided into 2 groups, high axial length and normal axial length. So normal axial length group had 62 eyes, and this group was defined as an axial length less than equal to 23.9 millimeters, and the high axial length group had 52 eyes, which was defined as an axial length equal to or more than 24 millimeters, and the outcomes were evaluated at 1 week and 3 months postoperative. Now, obviously, the groups did significantly differ with respect to the axial length, anterior chamber depth, and white-to-white diameter, and this is what was also expected. However, the corneal astigmatism, if you see, is fairly matched in both the groups, 1.59, which is 1.6 in the normal axial group and 1.7 in the large axial group. So this is the video of the surgery. The operating surgeon was Dr. Sri Ganesh for all the cases. And you can see this is the implantation of the Vivinex Toric monofocal IOL. And I hope you can appreciate the textured haptics of the lens, wherein the haptics are a bit roughened. And this is the implantation in the capsular bag based on the IntelliAxis refractive capsulotomy marks which the LensAR provides on the steep axis of the cornea or on the steep axis or on the axis of the IOL, the toric IOL. So this is the positioning of the lens on the capsulotomy notches provided by the femto laser. So coming to our results, the number of eyes achieving 20/20 uncorrected vision was 74% in the normal axial group and 73% in the high axial length group, which was almost similar. Eyes achieving post-op SC within plus minus 0.5 was 97% in the normal group and 100% in the high axial group. This was the SE. Coming to refractive cylinder accuracy, the eyes achieving refractive cylinder within plus minus 0.5 was 100% in the normal axial group and 94% in the high axial group. This is how the post-op deviation was evaluated. So the post-op deviation or rotation was derived as the difference of the achieved axis, let's say it was 170, from the intended axis, which was, let's say, 172. So the difference is 2 degrees. And how we did that was basically we took photographs of the eye in dilatation, in retroillumination, and on that, we superimposed an online protractor. You can see this is a protractor, and basically it drew a green line on the axis of the, wherever the axis of the toric IOL is. So you can see in this particular case, it's somewhere at around 174. So these were the results with regard to the post-op rotation. At 1 week in the normal axial group, the mean rotation was 1.2 degrees versus 1.4 degrees in the high axial group. This difference was not significant. At 3 months, the mean deviation was 1.48 degrees in the normal axial group versus 1.67, and this was also not significant. So you can see even in the large axial group, the mean post-op rotation at 3 months is within 2 degrees. So this is excellent result, and the rotation from 1 week to 3 months on an average in the normal axial group was 0.28 degrees versus 0.3 degrees, which is again similar and not significant. At 3 months, all the eyes in the normal axial group were within 0 to 5 degrees, and 50 eyes in the high axial group were within 0 to 5, and 2 eyes were falling between 6 to 10 degrees. We also did vector analysis and derived correction index, and correction index basically shows how well your cylinder has been corrected. So a correction index of 0 is considered to be normal. Anything more than that shows overcorrection, and anything less than that is undercorrection. So in the normal axial group, the correction index was 1.02, showing just a slight overcorrection of 2%, and in the high axial group it was 0.99, showing a 1% undercorrection. Again, this was not significant. So you can see that this correction index was close to 0 in both the groups. What we also did was we derived correlations of the postoperative rotation with all the possible preoperative parameters which could affect the postoperative stability of the lens, such as the axial length, Y-to-Y diameter, and the ACD. And we saw that the R values, these are the R values which shows the strength of the correlation of the two variables that you are evaluating. And you can see that the R values are 0, which means that there is, and the P values are not significant, which shows that there was no correlation of any of the postoperative parameters with the postoperative rotation when this lens is used. So normally we say that large axial length and toric lenses can rotate if you have large axial length and large Y-to-Y diameters, but that's with other lenses. When we use this lens, we did not really find any correlation with any of the preoperative factors. And this is another study which is published when they have shown that the mean rotation with the Vivinex platform with the textured haptics was only 1.1 degrees. And we found a similar study that was done using the Acris of IQ toric IOL in normal versus high axial lengths. And at 3 months in their study, in the normal axial group, their mean rotation was 4.16 degrees versus 4.16. So you can see that with the Acris of IQ, at 3 months, their average rotation was 4.16 versus 1.48 in our study. And in the large axial length group, their rotation was 4.27 versus only 1.67 in the present study. So you can see that the acris of lens, toric lens, rotated by more than double in normal axial lens as well as large axial lens. But with the Vivinex toric, this rotation was within 2 degrees for both the groups, which is a very significant result. So to conclude, in the present study, the axial length and Y2Y diameter did not significantly correlate with the pre-op toric IOL rotation, and the haptic modification, which is the textured haptics and the surfaces in the Vivinex IOL enhances the contact with the capsular bag, thus resulting in excellent rotational stability in eyes, irrespective of their preoperative parameters. And this is why now I'm not reserved in prescribing this lens and suggesting this lens for patients even with high axial lens. So the results of the study speak for themselves, and this is the study that has been recently published in the JCRS February issue. So if you're interested, you can go through the details, and if there are any questions, I'll be happy to answer. Thank you so much.
It's a nice study, Sheetal, corroborates something I find every day.
Yes,
The
sir.
sense whenever these haptics are roughened, I think is one of the most important things as far as stability of the
Yes.
lens is concerned.
Yeah.
You know, you're always supposed to rotate these lenses in a clockwise direction.
Yes, sir.
The other lenses, I find that if you're slightly off, you can even nudge it a little bit in the anti-clockwise direction. Whereas this lens, I always find it much more difficult. I have to go all the way around and bring it back. It may be a little irritating on the table, but that confirms the fact that the rotational stability of this lens is very good.
Yeah.
And especially considering most of the rotation happens in the first 1 hour, having the lens sitting rock steady within the
Yeah.
bag is something which I think your study also proves.
So if you have positioned the lens accurately in its axis at the time of surgery, then the average
Yeah.
rotation is very minimum, just about within 2 degrees, and the axial length does not really matter
Thank
when
you.
this lens is used.
Thank you.
Thank
Just a quick question. Has the industry, taken care of vis-a-vis axial length, the size, the overall size with this lens changes? Because in other competition, we have seen that when you are taking very low diopters, it might be the total axial length or the total optic size might be slightly increased to prevent this rotation.
Has anybody
I mean, it's a
I'm
uniform.
not
It's a
aware
uniform.
of
It's a
this,
uniform
No,
size.
I don't know of
I
any
think it's
company.
a
which does that.
uniform
quick,
size across all the axial lengths, and there is no customization of the lens or optic diameter based on the axial length.
I
But
heard one or two Indian companies were trying to address this by increasing the overall size of the lens, the length, overall length,
length of
to fit it into the larger size bag.
that
in
is
myopic
something that would
patients.
be actually ideal. But the texture, the modification also works very well.
So I think that's a very nice study which actually points
No,
out
the size of the lens bag doesn't always correlate with the axial length or the amount of refractive
But then
error.
the three parameters they've discussed is white to white, overall white to white. So white to white has a role to play when you're talking in terms of the rotation and the ACD.
I think
And
we'll
discuss. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's a very nice study and boils down to the rotational stability. And this stands for true for their entire range of products. I mean, be it a geometric toric or a Vivinex toric or the Impress toric.